All right. Well, I wrote a few questions down.
Ask away.
So how do we open again?
You got to introduce your guest.
We do have to introduce our guest. So we have Scott Macovi here. We've been friends since elementary school.
You were in my ECE class. So that's
Miss
no, that was kindergarten.
Yes.
ECE is Mr. Kazillion.
Ah, Mr. Kazillion. I don't remember him. But Scott Macovi here, your appraiser. Also heavy into the mixed martial arts community. You own Vision Quest.
Co-own
Vision Quest with Josh Hill.
Yeah, a couple others as well now. But
and so I just wanted to ask you a little bit about your main job.
Let's do it.
All right, so tell me a little bit about appraisals, when you got into it, and whatnot.
How did I get into it? I would say that actually you played a part in me getting into it, because the first step to me looking into appraising was after I worked for Energy. So when I worked for Energy, I was distributing the funds for people that filed for the EcoEnergy Rebate Program, and I was going in and out of houses all day, inspecting and whatever, right, and writing the reports when I got home. And very similar to what I do now, the EcoEnergy program expired. I tried to find something else in that field where I could do something different every day, but it's the same task, but I'm going somewhere new, right? And I saw an ad on Kijiji, and it just said appraiser needed. So I'm like, this is what I want. And I looked into it. I'm like, real estate appraisal. Okay. Applied, took the internet interview. And
to our energy program kind of thing.
Similar in like the setup of make an appointment, go through the dwelling, like look at what you're looking at, take some notes, and then come home and do the report. That's the same. But obviously the job is tremendously different. But the type of work is extremely similar. And you got me that job at Energy, or the interview at least. And
then you got Annie the job at the appraiser.
And I paid it back, and I got Annie the job at Walker & Walker, yeah.
And that's what it's about, man. Give and take. So
100%.
Appraisers, you've been doing it for how long?
I'm in my 9th year.
Holy sheesh.
9th year, yeah.
It goes fast.
So, yeah. And still in schooling for it, right? Because I'm a AIC candidate, and you have 10 years to get your full accreditation. So I have 7 of my 8 necessary courses I've got complete. I've got 1 more to go. And then I'll be like a full appraiser, like able to do whatever you want, whenever you want, right?
And is that in the car? Is that where you're...
Yeah, I mean, it's I have to, right? If you've gone this far, you have to try. But I'm happy where I am at Walker & Walker. Like a lot of people have the goals of leaving and branching out and opening up your own thing, and for me, I'm happy where I am, as long as I keep being treated well like I am. And,
So they give you a stable amount, obviously, of appraisals.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is a fact, but they used to say they're the largest firm in like Niagara, Hamilton region. I don't know if that's true.
I know they do a ton.
We're
everybody
steady
knows
working.
them.
And I know other appraisers that are like, how's business? Has it slowed down? And like, this is a while ago, and I'm like, no, not really. It's pretty steady all year round, no matter what. So.
Yeah, and so for people that don't know, what is an appraisal? When do you need an appraisal? Does the average person need to understand it?
Yeah. So
tell me a little bit about that.
For me, I can only talk about what I do them for, and I do them for 2 primary purposes. And it's if you go to your bank and you're trying to take out money or refinance your house or something like that, and then I also do them privately if people wanted an appraisal for matrimonial. You're getting divorced and you're fighting over the value of the home, and you do the appraisal that way. So primarily my workload is refinancing through banks, or you're trying to get your mortgage. You just bought a house, so you go to get your mortgage, and then the bank says, well, you need an appraisal. So I have to go to the house, walk through the house, take a picture of every room, take a bunch of notes on what the rooms look like, what type of flooring do we have, what does the kitchen look like, has this been upgraded, what's the square footage, how many bedrooms, all that stuff. And then when I go back to the office, I try to find 3 other homes that have sold within the last, maximum 6 months, but usually within 4, that have sold, and then compare the specific house to those 3 comparables. Yeah, that pretty much.
And it's kind of like mathematical formula. Like you're doing like a plus minus adjustment for stuff.
Yeah, so that's where appraisals differ from a real estate agent coming in and appraising, right? Because you can see something like potential of an area, or maybe something that you've seen in another sale that adds value to a home. But for me, my hands are tied, right? So in an appraisal for a bank, they give you a set of lender guidelines which attributes what's worth money and what's not worth money, right? So this is what you're allowed to attribute value to, and this is what you can't. So an example is like, just the other day I was at a 4-acre farm in West Lincoln, and they had a gorgeous outbuilding, like 2,000 square feet, full heat, full hydro. Like this thing's worth $150,000, you know? And but the lender guidelines said you can only include the outbuilding if the house doesn't have an attached garage. Then I could say the outbuilding is their garage, right? So this house did have an attached garage. So I had to go to the property and kind of view it like the outbuilding didn't even exist, which is crazy, because how can you support the value when I'm leaving out something that's tremendously valuable?
Yeah, and especially to like a hobbyist or a mechanic or somebody that really wants that space. Obviously, it might be worth $300,000 to that person. So
100%. But I can't look at it like that.
Yeah.
Right.
So as much as you can, it's mathematical. It's very better flooring. Plus X. Yeah,
there's certainly like subjectivity to it, but you try to leave that out and be as systematic and mathematical as you can, right? Like just because I prefer a laminate flooring because it's easier to clean, I'd prefer that, but it's hardwood, so you got to make an adjustment. Say the hardwood is nicer because hardwood's more expensive, and then it's nicer, so $10,000 for your floor.
Yeah, so
right?
as makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so pretty much, so people know, really, an appraisal happens every time a house is purchased. Is that correct?
I would think so, but different types. So I think it depends on the amount of money the purchaser is putting down. So like I've heard if people put down 50% of the value of a home, then they're only going to do a drive-by. So a drive-by is literally me driving by the house, taking a picture showing, hey, the house exists, and then doing that same comparable search, but without actually going in. Right?
Okay.
Or there's a desktop where I don't even leave my house, and they say, can you appraise this property from your desk? So I have to like find comps around it that have sold, and without even seeing if this house exists physically, and then appraising it based on that information.
So really, your job is to mitigate in those situations, mitigate the bank's risk. Your
100%.
Yeah.
That is my job, is to protect the money that the bank is lending individuals. Awesome. I work for the bank, not the person who's doing the refinancing or the purchasing. And I think that's a common misconception, right? Where people are like, I'm paying you. So, and I'm like, I understand that, but I'm here as the bank. I'm here to be the eyes of the bank, and I look at what the bank tells me to. I'm not out to get you. I'm just doing what the bank tells me to do.
And obviously, we just went through a pandemic here. And just wanted to kind of, I guess, see how you've seen it shift. Has it been as steady? What have you seen through? How has it affected your business? And have you seen prices go up, down? What's your thoughts on it?
Okay. So this started in March, right? Mid-March.
Second week in March.
So second week of March till end of April was the busiest I've probably ever seen it in 9 years. Like I was doing 3 or 4 a day every day. I could have worked weekends if I wanted to, but I was like, no, like that's enough, and people were pulling money out and getting lines of credit and leveraging as much more than I've seen in 9 years.
Interesting.
And then come say May 1st-ish, our workload just totally dropped off. So I didn't work for a couple of weeks, which hasn't happened in 9 years. Like I've worked steady for 9 years beside vacations, and it stopped. And then I would say maybe 10 years ago, back to full boom again. 10 days ago, full boom again, like back to crazy. So I don't know what causes that. Like I don't know if the word of the pandemic made people panic, and then everybody was like, we better refinance now before this hits, and then we paused for a bit. I don't know. But I can certainly say without doubt that there has not been a decrease in home values in the areas that I do. And I service from Hamilton to Binbrook to St. Catharines to Niagara Falls and Grimsby and Beamsville and those areas. There hasn't been a single dip in anything.
So you're seeing prices same as like we're on the same page with this. I'm seeing the exact same numbers.
Same thing, if not maybe even increased due to a lack of inventory, right? So like I haven't seen a bidding war since 2017-ish, but I've heard, I had a bidding war, but I haven't seen many. And then I saw 2 last week and I was like, how is there bidding wars in the middle of a pandemic? But it's because the inventory is so low, it's causing a frenzy. Definitely a seller's market, in my opinion.
I would agree. I think that a lot of, you're seeing, for some reason, news always, it's very negative. And
100%.
I guess, clickbait.
Yep.
But yeah, I have not seen a drop. I've seen a drop in inventory. I've seen a drop in sales, but prices are everything I've seen is still very strong, and a lot of competition. We've been losing a ton of offers.
It's crazy.
Chris and Randy both have lost a ton of offers. I've lost a bunch, and you were saying a little bit before that you went to one and it sold like 50,000 over asking.
Yeah, it was like 38 over asking, but it was in an area north of Barton Street that I haven't seen that. Because it's
activity.
Not the greatest area, in regards to socioeconomic background. And it's like when you see it go close to 500,000, I was like, holy cow! Like I didn't expect it.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
That's like. Almost. So you said 38,000 over?
38,000, yeah.
So probably 5, 6, 10 offers per se.
I mean, I don't have that info. I don't know, but still impressive, or at least weird to happen at this time.
And it is, because you have so many people are like thinking that they see the headlines, sales plummeted, and all you think is the market must be diving.
And I don't get what's the reason behind doing that? What are you trying to do by releasing articles with headlines like I told you, the one that popped up on my phone said Hamilton down, real estate down 68%. And I was like, what? So I click on it and I read it, and it's just referencing the amount of listings May 1st compared to the amount of listings of May 1st, 2019. But values are strong, if not stronger, or similar at least. So why focus on the negative part of it and then pump the negativity, I don't know why.
I wish I knew, man.
Yeah.
I really do.
I don't get it.
It is sad that, that's all that they seem to do is push out negative media. And they're even, like you see CMHC today said, or was it yesterday, said that, they predict that it's going to drop 18%.
What's going to drop 18%?
The market.
Like the overall entire market is going to drop 18%,
That was the prediction by the economists, and so they're going to tighten their lending requirements so that you have to put 10% down instead of 5% down.
Interesting.
And a few other little tweaks to the Canadian mortgage, the insurance program. So I don't know.
It brings up another problematic thing that happens when people address market increase or market decline, is that markets can vary, 500 meters away from each other. When I'm on Westdale to, houses, a stone's throw away from each other, it literally can be a different world in regards to what houses are selling for. So one of the things I hear all the time when I do an appraisal and a client is unhappy, which happens unfortunately regularly, is that Hamilton went up 22% last year, Scott. How did my house not? And I'm like, listen, that's very broad. Yeah. That includes Ancaster, Binbrook, Stoney Creek, the north of Barton Street. It includes everywhere, right?
And it's collectively this is the house. In that year, you could have had a lot more higher end houses being sold. It's not a very full vision at what actually transpired.
100%. That includes townhouses and condos and absolute mansions, right?
Yeah.
So I know, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's frustrating, and I agree. I don't see the purpose.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
Why predict it's going to drop 18%? I don't. I would love to know the data that is leading them to believe it. I think that.
Yeah, who benefits from that? I don't know. There certainly wouldn't be me and you. Like,
I don't know, man. Like,
yeah.
I know, okay, I guess I can see if there's a lot of jobs lost. That's a potential for the market to drop.
Which there certainly is. And I mean, a good friend of mine closed down her clothing store because she's just like, couldn't do it, right? It just didn't make sense to carry the overhead that happened during this time. So there's definitely going to be a lot of places shutting down. My gym is closed. It's been closed since March 16th or whenever this started going, so I can definitely see there's going to be problems, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to.
I don't know.
I struggle to see why you're going to assume it's going to drop 18%.
Yeah,
that's a pretty big drop.
100%.
You're not saying like 3-4%. They're saying 18% potentially.
Yeah, it's drastic.
And I don't personally see it. The cost, like, if it is, we're going to have some serious problems. Like,
definitely.
A builder can't, drop pretty much 18% is most builders' margins.
Yeah.
And so, the cost to build isn't going to go down 18%. So how do you still build a house if your profit margin is 18%?
Or why would you? If you're
not,
not,
or why would you?
Why
even?
would you bother building if you're not?
I like to not feed into the media as much as possible.
Same.
I like to really go with my gut. My gut tells me, and we talked about it before. My gut tells me that we had a shortage of inventory before COVID. We have a shortage of inventory now, and prices are stable because of that, if not going up. And I think we're going to have a shortage of inventory after.
Yeah.
The fastest growing city in North America is Toronto in 2019. There was 78,000 new residents, I believe. We grew in population versus the next closest was Portland, Oregon, 24,000. So we are
it's a big difference.
It is, and New York actually lost residents last year. And so when you look at it, or at least the way I look at it, I say we're always in the top 5 countries to be in, and to live in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So we're a great place to live, a lot of natural resources, very multicultural, fastest growing city in North America, and still affordable.
Yeah.
Like,
to an extent, and
So
to an extent.
I want to touch on that because a lot of people think like and I get it's getting higher and higher and higher, but if you look globally speaking for mega cities, we're very affordable. Toronto is a very big city. It's a mega city,
Mm-hmm.
and so a lot of people from China feel that Toronto is actually very affordable. So a lot of people park their money here, and that's why some of the measures were taken to curb that with the foreign tax, because they were just parking their money because they felt like it was safer to keep their house, their money parked in a house here, and so they would just buy up real estate and park it. So a lot of these places were just vacant.
Crazy.
But it was better than keeping it in their market because they felt like their money was going to tank. Their economy was going to tank. So So I look at it and I say we're one of the fastest growing cities in North America. We're one of the best places to live in the world.
Mm-hmm.
We have, a lot of natural resources and still, a decent amount of land to build in Southern Ontario as we stretch out towards Niagara and Beamsville and Smithville, West Lincoln, Bimbrook even if you look.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
And so I really am hopeful that, I think things are going to stay strong. I look at it even like I was saying, affordability-wise. I know we think it's expensive to live in Toronto, but I was in London, England. One of my clients gave me her flat in London, England, downtown Chelsea. And everywhere I go, I look at real estate. And so we were in London, England, and Chelsea, and we were staying in a one-bedroom flat. And I took a look. I was like, I wonder what the price of this place is. And it was $1.8 million.
Wow.
And it was literally like
crazy.
The kitchen was 6 feet by 6 by 3. It was literally the smallest kitchen I've ever seen in my life.
Crazy.
1 bedroom, no dining room, just a little living room, 1 bedroom, 1 bath, and a little 3 by 6 kitchen.
Yeah.
And that was 1.8 million. Then we went on a tour around London, England, and we seen houses that very similar to my house that would be worth 35 million, and I was like, who can afford this?
Yeah.
And so that's London, England, and I get it's one of the more expensive places in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But you look at Shanghai, Beijing, San Francisco, New York.
But can that continue forever? Like can that environment perpetuate itself?
Funny question, and I don't know the answer. However, I met a guy while I was in London, and he was the driver from the plane to the condo to the flat, and I always strike up combos. So I'm talking to him about real estate, and he's telling me how he's been there for 35 years, and I'm saying like prices are crazy, and he goes, when I first came here, he goes, I bought a house, and after about a couple years, he goes, and people said like, the bubble's gonna burst.
Yeah.
He's like, the prices cannot continue.
Heard that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he said 30 years later, he goes, they're still saying it.
Yeah.
But
True.
the prices are now 35 million.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't understand it. And maybe it needs to curb a little bit. I don't know.
Maybe that's what this is supposed to do. The pandemic is supposed to curb it. I don't know, but certainly no evidence of it now.
Yeah, it's it's definitely tough to predict like what is going to happen.
Yeah.
I just look and they've been saying even since in Stoney Creek, they've been saying since I've been in the real estate market that bubble's going to burst, corrections coming. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
So I really kind of hold hope that prices are still generally affordable when you look at the major cities over the world. We are a great place to live, and we have room to grow. So
I agree.
Hopefully things stay good, because you do have a bunch of properties as well. Is that correct?
I got a couple.
So what I know you have your own place that you bought.
Yeah.
Funny enough, you were my first client.
First guy.
First house
one
I ever sold was this man here,
Yeah.
Scott Macovi.
That's funny.
Trusted me back in, how long ago was
2011.
2011 to help you with
Yeah.
your real estate purchase.
Absolutely.
And I've done a lot of deals since then, but it was really, really nice to do my first deal with one of my favorite
when did
friends.
you get your license? Because that would have been November or October 2011 is when I bought it.
So
Because I just started appraising, and now it's 2020.
I had my real estate license for about 3 months
Okay.
before you
The
bought.
first sale.
Yeah,
That's cool, man.
yeah. It was really, really nice to do, and I think we were able to manage to negotiate good for you.
Oh,
And get,
yeah.
get
We went, I remembered. We went from 232 was the accepted
232,
232, and then I think we ended up getting it for 211.5.
Nice.
I think. I'm pretty sure.
Close
It was
to
something
that.
like that, yeah.
And we negotiated a
Something
little
like
bit of
that.
money off for you.
Yeah, and we got after home inspection, got it down a little
Got
bit.
it down a little bit more.
That's what we do.
That's it,
Gotta
right?
save every penny.
Got to negotiate, man.
Absolutely. No, you did a great
think-
job for me. And actually, I remember a couple months after, I was like, there was a pizza at my door when I came home from the movies. And I was like, what is this? And you had called Gino's Pizza to deliver me a pizza to my house, but I wasn't home. so I just left it there. And I was like, all right, I guess
All right,
I
well,
got a
thanks,
pizza
Pete.
here. Yeah, it was a good idea.
Well, that
at
was
least.
nice of me.
Yeah, it was nice of you.
I must have thought you were home.
Yeah, I
Must
guess.
have thought you were home.
That was
But so you bought that house for 230, 211,
something like that. Yeah.
and
somewhere
what
in
would you say it's worth now?
I've also put a lot in, right? So like over the last 9 years, I've done the kitchen, the flooring, the bathroom, the basement. And now I just last year I did the roof, the siding, and the brick on the front. Like really put a lot of money in.
Yeah, you did a great job.
So
looks really nice.
Thanks. But I don't know how much I've put in overall over the 9 years. But I've definitely, if it was 230 or 211, it's at least 515, 520, 525 nowadays.
I would agree. And
Something
if that
like
house sold for 545
north of Barton,
then
then maybe more.
Maybe more.
But my pocket is weird, eh? That pocket there in Satellite City near Valley Park is weird.
It is an interesting pocket,
Yeah.
but I think it's growing. You know, I think it's coming up, and you're starting to see it increase.
Yeah.
So
yeah, since then I got the
you made a
townhouse
couple
in Brantford.
So you made a couple $100,000, or at least a couple $100,000 in equity.
Yeah.
In your first purchase, that was 7 years ago, you said, or 8 years ago?
9
years
2011.
ago. Holy.
2011.
Okay, so 9 years ago,
Yeah.
so you made a couple $100,000 there,
Yeah.
and you've parlayed that into more property now.
Yeah. So I got my partner Brendan. Shout out to Brendan Cover, Hamilton Home Comfort.
Yeah.
We got a townhouse in Brantford, and we just closed on that like a couple months ago. Got that rented out, and then we're part of the new condominiums in Waterdown that are going to open, I don't know, in a year and a half or 2 years. We got one in there as well.
The Trend.
So
is it Trend?
Trend. So that's all I have going on right now. I've got my place. I've got half the townhouse in Brantford and half the condo in Waterdown. But that being said, I'm not going to stop this method of growth and investment, because I find that that's what works best for me. I'm not a stock market kind of guy. I'm not I don't like to gamble in commodities and stuff like that. So real estate is something I know very well, and something that I've also learned from others, like seeing my dad had a rental and then sold it, then regretted it 10 years later and wished he still had it and stuff. So I'm like, I'm going to hold on to as much property as I can, as long as I can, and try and fill it with good people to take care of your property, and then,
and
one
that
day
is the
sell
key.
it all.
Like hold,
Yeah.
and hold.
Yeah.
If you can hold until you're ready to retire, like.
Yeah. That being said, like with the townhouse, and we're also bouncing around the idea of holding it for 2 years and then selling it, because we bought it pre-construction, right? So you're going to see a huge gain when you buy pre-construction, because we bought it a year and a half before it was even built.
Yeah.
And then after 2 years, maybe selling it, because you're only going to see regular increase, right? Mm-hmm. But I think the plan is to do that only if we can reinvest back into new construction.
Another project.
Yeah. Or a duplex or something
and
like that.
that's one of the things about new construction. Like, part of the reason why you're making that, big jump of money, the big, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, part of that is just the fact that 2 years has gone by.
Mm-hmm.
So inflation,
Exactly.
If the average house goes up 3% a year, that's a big part of that equation. So
absolutely.
But smart way to do it. It's, I so far have been, dabbling more into the flips
mm-hmm.
and builds, because I have my license.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of money to be made in pre-construction as well, and you've seen that. So
Same.
So when you bought the Brantford one, what did you buy it for, if you don't mind me asking?
$389,990. Neighbor just sold for $469.
So, and when did you put your down payment on that? Do you remember? Roughly?
If it's 2020, maybe the very beginning of 2018.
So
maybe?
in 2 years, you've made,
$80 grand.
$80,000.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
Yeah, it's not too shabby. Can't complain.
And then, refinance potentially in a couple
Mm-hmm.
years and do another one, or keep it. So
Although I have a lot of trouble refinancing with guidelines and rules that the lenders have put on it, right? Like based on my income and
self-employed.
And self-employed makes it super difficult.
Absolutely.
Super difficult. So I'm a little bit limited in that respect, but
that's where, we'll talk more, later, but it's something where, one of the things I explained before to you I was doing was a holding corp.
Yeah.
So we take, that's something that I learned not so long ago, a few years ago, and I moved all my rental properties into a holding corp. And so what that does is, when you have to go for a mortgage, they're looking at your total service debt ratio. But if you move all your rental properties into a holding corp, those don't affect your total service debt ratio. So they end up being part of a holding corp, and that holding corp. So, for example, for me, I have 4 properties in my holding corp, And so that holding corp has nothing to do with me.
So it's a separate entity.
It's a separate entity.
Crazy.
So, as long as there's enough equity in the houses and enough rent coming in to service the debt. So instead of like a total service debt ratio for yourself, I believe the holding corp for the mortgages become like a service debt ratio for the house. So it has to be like so for example, that house, say you have a house in there, one house, and you have to have a few, but let's say you have one house in there for 500,000 and your mortgage is 2,300 a month. You have to be collecting, I think it's about 1.2 to cover the debt. So
okay.
If you're bringing in, let's say, 2,700 instead of 2,400, it's enough to cover it and leave a little bit of money. So the bank says, okay, we can give you the money for that property.
But
so
I heard you need to have a couple of properties before you can even open. Like, you can't open a holding corp and then just put one house in it.
So I think we'd.
That's your next guest, man.
Yeah,
Bring somebody in who can really analyze that.
I was gonna say
I'm not educated enough on it to.
I'll get Katie or Ned in here to explain it further, and they can explain it a lot better than I can.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like I have I started with 2 in there, and then I put in a third and a fourth, and I'm about to put in a fifth, and so it doesn't affect your your own. So if you want to go buy another house under yourself, it's no issue.
Yeah.
And so that obviously helps you there. But the other part of it that is important is that holding corp is bringing in, say, 4 rental properties times how much rent's coming in. That's revenue, right? So it becomes its own enterprise that's making money, and you can start to loan against it. You can get credit cards through it.
How do you do a tax return for that? Just like you would any like incorporated business?
Exactly. So my holding corp has a credit card. It's like it's its own little entity, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And so if I want to go buy another house, I can, and if I want to buy another house through my holding corp, I can.
Yeah.
So I'll go and say, hey, you know what? I want to buy another house with my holding corp. Put my business name in. As long as I have enough equity in the holding corp and enough money in the holding corp to buy it, they will give me another mortgage.
That's interesting.
And again, it has when you start off and you're just buying 1, 2, 3 houses, under your own name is fine. A lot of banks have a limit of 5 houses under your personal name. Like I think RBC for sure did. But if you put it under your holding corp, you can add as many as you want to it. So it's really something to look further into.
Yeah, definitely.
And definitely I will at some point have Katie or Ned on here to discuss it further.
Yeah.
Because it is something you should do. The other cool thing about it, like what I'm trying to do with it, is to start to add international property to it. So you want to go to Bahamas and buy a house. Well, you buy it through your holding corp. Now your trip there is now, to look for real estate.
Tax deductible.
Yeah, tax deductible,
Yeah.
right? So you're going there to Bahamas to look to add a property to your, holding corp.
Yeah.
So every, if you do buy one, every future trip to Bahamas is to service and, look after your investment. And so, it all gets channeled into your holding corp. And then, I'd love to have Dan Pelk actually explain a little further. I had him on before, but he can explain to you some cool stuff. It's called whole life policy through your holding corp. So, and even like a health spending account through your holding corp. So it acts as a business. One of the things Dan taught me that, is something I haven't taken advantage of yet, but I'm going to. You can invest tax-free into a whole life policy through your corp. And so, if it's $500 a month, $700 a month, $1,000 a month, whatever you want to do, and then let's say after 20 years, there's 1.5 million in your whole life policy, you put it all in there tax-free, so it becomes like a deductible going in. And when you, if you say you're 50 and you want to borrow some money, you borrow against that whole life policy, and that's tax-free. And then you only have to pay it back if you decide,
I feel like
or
what's the catch?
or if you die, then you pay it back.
Yeah.
Your estate pays it back. There's no catch.
No, I it's just that's what it feels like sometimes. You know, like
Yeah.
sometimes it feels like,
Yeah, absolutely.
why isn't everybody doing this? But it's not that there is a catch. It's just like that we are uneducated, like myself in that field, so haven't done it, right?
And you know, myself included, I didn't know about this until I met Dan. You know, he explained this to me. So that's why it's, you know, important to talk to professionals.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, they accountants, insurance agents, tax specialists, finance specialists, they know ways to, you know, add value to your life.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
Within the confines of the law, right? In the Tax Act, it actually states you owe it to yourself. You have to do whatever is best for you tax wise. So taking advantage of any, you know, perk they give you.
Yeah.
So, you know, as long as it's within the law,
Do it.
do it, man, and save some money and build for your kids, build your estate for your kids or your future or whatever that may be. So
Yeah.
really something to look into.
Agreed.
And then we can add, you know, 20 houses to your repertoire.
Yeah.
And you know, I want one in Bahamas, and I'd like one in maybe Italy. I think
That'd be
you would
nice.
like one in Thailand.
Thailand would be nice. Yeah.
Is that your?
Thailand would be nice.
Is that somewhere where you really like?
I told you recently, like I think, I'm like, I always believe in whatever you want to happen in your life, you have to kind of like put it out into the universe, you know. And if you just keep it to yourself and you don't voice it aloud to others or to anybody, it's not going to happen. Like, you have to voice your things out. So one of the things,
firm believer in that, brother.
yeah, like one of the things I want to do is I want to spend the Canadian winters in a warm climate. So, you know, I would love to have the ability to take off after your Christmas party in December, you know, and then come back in January, February, March, the end of April or something, you know, and then
Before my birthday.
right before your birthday.
Okay.
Right? So this whole
All
thing
right.
is revolved around you.
Thanks, man.
You know,
So
but
you can leave January 2nd and you can come back April 18th.
100%.
All right, perfect.
Right,
man.
and then I get to go to every bash that happens.
Down.
But like, I don't know. I just feel like that's what I need for my.
And it would be Thailand. Is that where?
Well, that's out of all the places I've been, that's definitely the place that appeals to me the most, because it's like a hub for martial arts. So there's so many good places to train, and it's got gorgeous beaches, and it's like just financially very affordable once you're there. Getting there can be pricey, but once you're there, it's like, you know, you could. Whereas here, like if you were to go for dinner every night, it gets super pricey super quick, you know.
Oh,
so you
absolutely.
moderate, you monitor your budget, and you say, you know, honey, we're gonna go for dinner every Saturday, right?
Like here, you're probably $100.
Yeah.
70 minimum to go out for dinner.
Like,
correct?
if you go out with your wife in Thailand and you want to have a gorgeous meal, it's like, and this is gorgeous, is like $20 probably.
Like 5-star kind of dining.
Like you obviously there's more expensive places.
Yeah.
But like a very good healthy meal is like between $3 and $9 each down there. You know, so
Wow.
like how often would you go out and eat if it was that reasonable? You know, like groceries to make that stuff is going to cost me $2. So why didn't I just go to this place and pay the $4
Yeah.
and then sit
$4.
down? Yeah, like
I
it's
haven't
amazing.
been to anywhere in the Southeast Asia
Yeah.
area.
I love it. That being said, I did go to Italy last year as well, and I only went to Rome, but I absolutely loved it. Like,
I
it
loved
was
Rome,
phenomenal. The food is amazing. The people are great. The culture, like just walking around is.
Did you go see the Colosseum?
Yeah, I did everything, right? So I made sure when I booked my thing that I was right beside Piazza Navona. So then I was like the central hub of Rome, so I could go to the Colosseum, the Pantheon, the Roman ruins, and everything was like walking distance. So
It's pretty epic. I went back, I think it was 2-3 years ago-ish now, and I was in the Colosseum, and I was just taken back, man.
Yeah.
I was, the emotions, the energy, like it was built in 67 or 77 AD.
yeah,
So like 2,000 years ago.
crazy.
Like
Crazy.
I was just looking at it going, oh my God. And they're
Yeah.
showing you, underneath
Mhm.
where the slaves and the animals were, and definitely a really cool thing to see. And then they even show you the catacombs which is like,
I didn't go there. I wish I did though.
that's like
I wish I saw that.
BC,
Yeah.
right? And so you're talking like 2,000 plus years. And so really, really cool place to visit. I've seen a lot of the world. I have not seen Southeast Asia. Cynthia tells me all the time how
Yeah.
affordable it is and how beautiful it is.
I feel like that feeling you get when you travel, how like, I don't know, this is a little bit off topic, but I'll just say, like, sometimes when I wake up in the morning, my first thing that goes through my head isn't, oh, it's a beautiful day. You know, like the first thing that goes through my head when I wake up in the morning is like, leave me alone, I'm going back to bed, right? Leave me alone. Don't talk to me. I'm going back to, and I can't help it. That's just the way that I am when I wake up sometimes.
Yeah.
And anytime I've traveled on my own to either Thailand or Italy or wherever I was, when I wake up in the morning, I just feel better. I just feel a need to explore, or like you feel the heat, you smell the ocean, and you're just like, there's no reason to not get up. You know, it's just like,
man.
just
You want to go explore.
just get up and enjoy this lovely day.
Yeah.
Whereas there's so many days here in the Canadian winter where I wake up and, like I said, I'm just like, leave me alone. I'm going back to bed, or guess I'm going to work, and my mental health is lower than it is when I'm
Oh, for sure.
away. So I want to perpetuate that feeling, and I feel like if I could find a way to financially be able to spend my winters in a warmer climate in an area that I enjoy, then maybe overall it would increase my, I don't know, quality of life, I guess.
Absolutely, man. I'm a big believer in anything is possible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I really do believe that, and I think, you know, whatever you set your mind to, if you want it, you can do it.
You can have it for
so,
sure.
you know, and that really is a true choice. You know, if you put enough hours in, if you work hard enough, if you care enough, if you make enough sacrifices,
Yeah.
if that's what you want, it is doable. So you've already came up with the idea.
Yeah,
Now it's a matter of putting it
Just
in your
making it
plan
happen.
and making it a reality.
for sure.
And I know you will do it. You know, I think that, you know, you're somebody that I always, respect, that you say something, you do it.
Yeah, 100%. And that's funny. I say that all the time to my girlfriend. I'm like, listen, if you say you're going to do something, do it. And we're going to get along great. You know, like that's
man.
it. That's all I want. Just don't BS me. Just if you're going to do it, if you say you're going to do it, you know?
Absolutely. And I think, you know, spreading the word of manifesting, putting it out there, you know,
100%.
even if it's writing it down. Like there's a lot of studies that show, writing it down, planning it, you know, continuously seeing it, you know,
Yeah.
so put it in your room, put it on a vision board.
Yeah.
Your likelihood of achieving it is so much more likely if you constantly, you know, have it in your face. So
100%. You have to.
your brain starts, you know, working on it even when you're not working on it.
Yeah.
So your subconscious plays a huge role, in my opinion.
And it maybe motivates you to do things you wouldn't normally do because you've thrown it out into the universe, and then maybe you're feeling super lazy that day, and you're like, but then secretly inside of you somewhere, there's a motivation that gets you up and goes to do that thing that's going to take you just a little bit closer to your goal.
Absolutely,
You know,
man.
like I do believe you need to rest and lay on the couch sometimes and watch movies and chill out and stuff, you know, but there's also, you have to get up and work towards the things that you want, even in times where, you know, it's difficult to do so.
Yeah, 100%. Setting your goals, setting the goals. I think
Yeah.
that's where it's at. Have the vision, the plan, the idea of what you want, putting some goals down on paper, and then making it come to fruition. You will start to make sacrifices. You will start to, you know, change your outlook on, you know, I had a sit down with a client before, and they were like, you know, I want to sell my house and I want to move to like the country. I want to buy something very, very cheap. I don't want to work anymore. I just want to be with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, having a talk with her and trying to like understand where that was coming from, peeling the onion back and saying, you know, why do you want to do this? And she was like, I don't want to work anymore. I don't enjoy it. I just want to be with my kids. And so I started to peel the onion some more and say, okay, is this financially possible?
Yeah.
And the more I broke it down, I was like, you can do this. You know, you and your husband, you know, your husband can make enough money that this is doable. However, your quality of life won't be there. And so, you know, if you don't want to take your kids, you know, to Disney World or Canada's Wonderland or Great Wolf Lodge, or have them in dance, or have them in hockey, or
Yeah.
have them in any, then you can do that.
Yeah.
But if you do want to, spend because her kid was, I think 1 and 2 or 1 and 3. And so I said, do you remember when you were 1? And she's like, not really.
It's true.
And I was like, but you remember when you were 5 or 6 and you went to, went with your mom and dad to, Canada's Wonderland or on trips? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, so to me, it's not my decision. It's up to you. But, if you want to be able to have those memories with your kids, then we need to change your mentality. We need to change your outlook. When you go to work, instead of it being like, I hate this, it could be like, I'm doing this for, the ability to take my kid to Great Wolf Lodge.
Yeah.
Or I'm doing this so that I can put my kid in hockey. I'm doing this so I can spend time with, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
I think people quit quicker now than they used to as well, right? Like people, when something negative happens to me, which happens, or a problem comes up that might stop somebody, I don't sit there and dwell on the negativity of it or the issue and it's stopping me from doing this. I try to find a way, and I look at it as a challenge, right? Like, okay, so COVID shut me down for 2 weeks, like I said. So I can sit here and collect this CERB benefit and just sit on the couch. Or maybe I could try to find a way to keep moving forward in like offering training sessions or making something, shelves that I made, and selling these shelves on Kijiji or something, right? Like, I don't know, try
Better
to
yourself, do something.
Always, man. I hate that feeling of stagnation, where I'm staying on the same plane and I'm not moving forward. You don't have to be taking huge steps forward all the time, but you do have to not be going backward.
Yeah, I put a little. I saw a quote about a week or two ago I posted, and it's such a simple quote, but it makes so much. It kind of like went wow. It's like one of those, small but very significant.
Mm-hmm.
And it said, a little by a little becomes a lot.
Yeah.
And it's such a simple
like
thing, but it's true. You fight. You've went into the octagon. You battled, and you didn't just jump in.
No.
A little by a little.
Work your way up, for sure.
You started to build strength. You started to work harder. You started to wrestle. You started to train. You started to add a little bit of jiu-jitsu. You started to add a little bit of Muay Thai. You started to add a little bit of conditioning, and all of a sudden, after months and months and months and months, you were ready. And now now I have a hard time to wrestle you, and I've got about 100 pounds on you.
Yeah.
So
and that mindset applies to everything, though. And I didn't realize that until maybe I turned 29 or 30 or something, when I actually had a turning point and realized that I got to switch up the way I'm doing things. Because I wasn't happy where my life was going in one direction. So you got to switch up my train of thought. And then it opened up so many doors to new people who are more positive in myself and in supporting my growth. And when you're around positive people and just, this might be a silly example, but I was in a bunch of group chats with my friends, and all they're doing the majority of the time is ripping on each other. And it was great when I was 27, 28. I loved it. It was awesome. And then I changed the way that I think and the way that I look at my future and who I want to be. And I thought, I don't want to be this guy that is trying to make somebody feel bad and then feeling good about that. And this guy's supposed to be my friend. So I'm out of every group chat I was ever in. I haven't been in one in years, because it's not the type of relationship that I want to perpetuate, So it's if you see something that you don't like, you can change it, and you just have to be willing to accept that challenge and go for it.
And I think you've always been that guy. You've always been
never been a follower.
No, you're willing to stand on your own.
100%. There was a sign. This is so stupid, but in grade 6, there was a sign in my classroom, and it said, "In a world of followers, dare to be a leader." And for some reason, that still sticks in my mind today at 35. And I'm just
that's awesome, though.
Where I was just what? Everybody's doing this. I love these guys, but I don't really care. I'm just gonna go do my own thing, and they're still gonna be there, And it's worked, right?
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely, it's So, and I get it's all banter,
Mm-hmm.
We just make fun of each other, and it's not really serious, but I understand it's not conducive to.
And it can get serious at times, but you don't want to let it out.
When one person crosses the line, then the next person crosses the
100%.
line, and it's, I got to get him back, and then I got to get.
And then you remember it, and then some people are more vindictive than others and stuff. I mean, that's just an example of stopping something that I felt wasn't helping my
psyche.
My mental health or whatever, right?
Absolutely.
But it applies to other things too. Like when Josh and I first opened the gym in 2016, it was, do I want to just keep going to other people's gyms and helping out, or do I want to take that risk and accept the challenge and go out on my own with one of my best friends and try to make it work? And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So what? At least I can say I tried.
Absolutely.
And when I'm 70 and I'm trying to motivate my grandkids to do stuff, I have examples of this is what I did.
Dare to be bold, man.
Yeah, and I can speak to the things that I've done. I don't like to speak to things other people have done, and I don't want to give advice on things that I haven't been through myself. But if you ask me something and I'm educated on it, I will help any way that I can to try and help you to not make the same mistakes that I did.
You Michael Jordan, you miss all the shots you don't take.
Yeah. Was that Jordan or Gretzky?
Pretty sure it was Jordan.
Was it Jordan? Yeah.
I think so.
I think I've heard that related to Gretzky as well. You'll miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
No, I'm pretty sure that was Gretzky.
Was it Gretzky?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I knew
I want to Google this.
No, duck, duck, go.
Duck, duck, go.
Yeah.
New way to less censored Google.
Yeah.
But either way, the point is, it's true. Everything I've kind of achieved was something that originally I was like, maybe this is bold to, start to build houses.
Yeah.
Maybe this.
And it is.
And it is.
It is.
And
it is risky.
It is risky. I had to literally put my house on the line and my life on the line to make it happen.
Yep.
But, I truly believe if you're willing to work hard, you're willing to be positive, you're willing to put it out there, you're willing to put the hours in, it will work itself out.
100%.
When we were in university together, you're making next to no money. Somehow you still find a way to go out, enjoy, live life.
Yeah.
Then you started making, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year, and you find a way to live by your means.
For sure.
And, somehow it always works itself out.
Yeah.
So as long as you keep pushing, you keep raising the bar for yourself, you will find a way to do it.
But I believe it works itself out for those who believe it works itself out. You know what I mean? Like
magic of believing, man.
If you believe that, it always happens to me. Everything's so negative. Why me? That's your problem.
Yeah.
Change that, and then you'll see the things around you change, and start looking at what can I do to not make this happen again, instead of thinking, this always happens to me and whining about it. Go do it yourself and make it happen.
The little red book, man.
Yeah.
Little red book
What's that?
I read. It's called The Magic of Believing.
Okay.
And it is same as The Secret, same as all that stuff. It's if you believe it, you'll start to manifest it. Your brain will start to believe it.
Yep.
And I read that book, and I swear it's changed my life, and that was 15 years ago, 12 years ago.
My dad, who is like one of my heroes. I love him so much. He's amazing.
Larry!
He's
Shout
one
out
of
to
the
Larry.
Funniest guys I've ever.
I love Larry too.
His outlook on life is amazing, and like he said, I remember
very
when I was a
happy
kid. Yeah, very positive and happy
Happy-go-lucky.
my whole life,
Yep.
And he used to say to me, and he always like gets a certain tone when he wants to be like, I don't know, give you advice and be like, son, don't let it happen, make it happen. And it sticks with me, and I'm just like, he's right. It's not going to happen unless I put it out there and I try to do something to make it happen. You know?
You can't just sit back and be like, yeah, I want to live in Thailand.
Yeah. I'm going to live in Thailand, man. But
cool.
That's it.
How you going to do it? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I'm going to do it.
100%.
But it is a good start, right? I'm going to do it.
Yeah, okay. You got to throw it out there, and then you will start taking the steps.
Absolutely, man. I want to shout out to you. Like, everything you've ever set out, you've accomplished, which is nice. And we're still, in our 30s. I know you're going to set out to do a lot more.
Yeah. I don't know what, but I gotta do some more,
I think you will, man. And, real estate has given you a nice little, equity builder. You
Yeah.
got you bought it at a good time 7 years ago.
Got
in
lucky
Hamilton.
with that jump in 2016. That's for sure.
Absolutely, and now you
Yeah.
got a couple other properties, so that's
Yeah.
going to help push you to more properties and more equity, and hopefully maybe you'll buy a place in Thailand. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows, man?
Maybe I'll
Who
buy
knows?
one close by.
There you go.
We'll both have
Why
a place
not?
in Thailand.
Why
man.
not?
Anything
I-
is possible
I
if
agree.
that's what you decide to do.
I agree.
But yeah, man, I would definitely appreciate you coming out here.
Hey, man. Anytime.
Definitely appreciate always seeing you, and until our next bash, keep hustling, keep
Yep.
keep fighting, and yeah, man.
Thanks, buddy.
Cheers, brother.
Happy to be here.
Thanks, buddy.